Wray.
Hi.
It's great to have you again online this early morning, speaking from Cape Town and me from Mauritius. And so to carry on from the last little interview that we did, I would really like us to hear a bit more about your own experience. When did you actually find out that you had a progesterone deficiency?
I know, that was a wonderful journey. Well, it still is. I was in Johannesburg, living in Joburg at the time, and I had a very strange day. I thought my blood pressure had dropped so low that it was barely working, because that's how I actually felt. So I went to the local chemist. I didn't have a doctor then, I still don't have one. And he took my blood pressure and he said it was high. Now, I've never had high blood pressure, so I didn't recognize it. And he suggested I went to see a doctor, or my doctor, and I said I didn't have one. He recommended I went to one up above the chemist, which I did. I was, 47 then. And I said I knew nothing about hormones, but could it possibly be something to do with that? And anyway, he decided to take blood. And the results came back. Estrogen was fine, and various other things he'd taken, FSH and LH. But he never took progesterone, because they didn't those days, and I've discovered they still don't, unless you ask for it. And I'm talking about anywhere. So by then I had read about progesterone, and all the symptoms fitted. He had just read the same book that I'd read, and he said he would test the hormones again. This was now about a year later, and my symptoms had just got worse and worse. So he did another test. The results came back. Progesterone was 0.6, which is about the same level you get in the follicular phase and that men get. But this was done in my luteal phase, peak luteal. So there was obviously something very wrong, or i.e. lack of progesterone. So he suggested I tried it. I did, and in those days it was difficult to get hold of progesterone cream, and there was one the chemist was selling, and it turned out to be a yam cream, not progesterone. And it was while I was on that I actually started getting hot flushes, which I'd never had before. The most awful experience. And I wrote to the company. They agreed it wasn't progesterone, it was a yam cream, and they were actually selling it as a progesterone, which was rather fraudulent. Anyway, I did find a progesterone cream, and the hot flushes went in 10 days, which was such a relief. I then ran out of the cream because I hadn't ordered enough, and the hot flushes came back. This convinced me progesterone worked. And then I found gradually, because I wasn't using the high doses I use now, I found gradually the symptoms I'd been suffering from started disappearing. I had terrible dizziness, I had cracked heels, flaking fingernails, terrible mood swings. I'd go into rages, and depression, terrible fatigue. I had muscular weakness, so bad that some days I could barely walk. Other days was fine, and it would fluctuate all the time. All of this started going, and then friends started asking me, what was the change? How had I changed things? So I told them about the progesterone, and they started using it, and all their symptoms started going. And then I was sort of ordering cream from a compounding pharmacy for them. And then one day my brother said, why not make your own? Because I had been making my own hand creams since I was 19. And with the help of a British firm that sells raw materials, we started experimenting with different ingredients until eventually we got the one we liked the best. That was 15 years ago. And we started, it was a bit crude in those days because we were actually making it in the kitchen. and putting it into little tubs and selling it, distributing it by post and to all the people that knew, and it was helping them. And then it got to the point where we weren't making enough, so we then started getting a lab to make it for us, and then we started putting it into tubes rather than the funny little containers. And then when more info came onto the web about safer, more natural ingredients, we started changing our formula until we've got the formula we have today. And so that, in a nutshell, is the story.
Wonderful. I would like to ask you more questions about the cream, but I think we will take it just in another chapter. And by the way, what was that book that you read that really turned your world around, as I may say?
Yes. Yeah, it was Leslie Kenton's book, Passage to Power. And interestingly, the doctor is married to a pharmacist. And she had read the book, which is why he had read it. I think she found it important. And it was her pharmacy that I had been going to.
10 years afterwards, obviously, you are still using the cream.
Definitely.
Not because you are making it.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. I trust it's been really helpful. If you wish to have access to the whole series of interviews with Wray Whyte, please visit my website, natpro-progesterone-cream.com. Stay tuned, there is many more to come. Speak to you soon.